It's your weekly breakaway for fun conversations on pro cycling. Come and join us for another ride in the team bus. I'm Matt Harper, and together with my brother Justin, we'll do deep-ish dives on professional bike races, teams, riders, and all sorts of cycling-related stories. And we might just sprinkle in some other shiny pop cultural objects along the way. So jump in the saddle and tighten up those shoes. The road awaits. Allez!
Hello and welcome to the Team Bus. I'm Justin and this is my brother Matt. And today on the show, the bus is finally pulling into Madrid after 3 weeks circumnavigating the north of Spain at the 2025 Vuelta a Espana. This year's edition was fraught, to say the least, with drama aplenty, both within the race and without, as protests over the inclusion of Israel Premier Tech team in the race interfered with multiple stages and caused 2 stages to be neutralized before the finish, including the final stage into Madrid. Meanwhile, across the pond, the Canadian weekend gave us plenty of North American-style racing excitement. At the Grand Prix Cyclista de Quebec on Friday, we saw the return of one of our favorite superstars of recent years to the top step of a World Tour podium as Lulu went boom boom. And on Sunday at the Grand Prix Cyclista de Montreal, we got almost exactly what we were expecting, but rather than winning, Tadej Pogacar graciously offered the win to his teammate, American Brandon McNulty, while another Yank, Quinn Simmons of Little Trek, finished all alone in third. As always, we'll finish out the show today with one last North American ride in the Broom Wagon. Allez. Welcome to the show. We're going to get right into our Vuelta talk. News all over this thing, Matt. Where do you want to start?
It's crazy. I mean, it seemed like we sort of pivoted in week 3 away from the 1 and 2 drama of like the whole UAE thing and all that, with some protests sprinkled in, especially the relegation of the, what was it, stage 11. I feel like the protest became more of a focus in this final week, not only with the win, which we're going to start off with on Tuesday by Egan Bernal, who got a win that was affected by protests. They just, there's no way that they could go into the finishing town, and they just decided to finish the race at 8Ks to go, and Bernal got the win. Maybe you got to put an asterisk over it. I don't know. I don't care, but just crazy. Like this, the protesting is the signature thing about the 2025 Vuelta a Espana, and that's what it will be remembered for. I mean, Jonas got his third Grand Tour, his first Vuelta, et cetera, but I just feel like that story is totally overshadowed
100%.
by the protest. And it's a bit ironic too, because he also did not get his day in the sun on the last day. It's just an absolute bummer that there was no podium, no riding, no nothing.
No sprint,
like, it was just
no
done.
podium.
Like, they were just like, we need to get these guys back to the buses as quickly as possible, and it was done and dusted. I even wonder if there was a team get together afterwards, or did they just bug out?
Oh no, they definitely
know.
So you need to go down to my notes. So they did an impromptu podium. It's kind of wild, like with no crowd. It's just team people,
Walk me through it.
So, well, I only caught it via TNT and Visma's Instagram pages, but they had like an impromptu podium with just riders and crew.
But who is they? Like the team
UAE,
put it on?
Visma, Riccatello was there, so
But it wasn't like by the race organization. It was just like, I don't impromptu. Think so. The teams put it on themselves.
That's what it seemed like. I don't know I don't know that officially, but it definitely seemed like something that they put together themselves.
Gotcha.
Um,
Interesting. I'll have to watch that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had some time to gather my thoughts on this, and you know, you're already into the season, so there's not really much you can do. But I don't disagree with the sentiment of if we're excluding Russian teams for the things that they've done, you know, there probably should be a ban on Israeli teams at this point. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
mean it's
Like,
basically a billionaire who has a political agenda and buys a cycling team, puts it on there, and he stamps this thing on the front of the shirt. It's not they don't have a actual legitimate tie into the government of Israel or anything else like that. It's just the owner of the team wants that on the jersey, and I have no problem with the UCI going to him and saying, "Look, we're not going to endanger all of our riders because of a political agenda that you, sir, one person has. Take it off the jerseys, or you're not going to the races. End of story. Does that is that unreasonable? Is
no,
that is
and
that
it'll
is
be
that against is that hurting free speech? See, the thing is, I don't know that that alone would have stopped all these protests at the Vuelta a España. I mean, I think that there's kind of two separate things happening.
I think you're probably right. The team is not going to race as Israel Premier Tech next year. It has been announced that they are going to remove Israel from the team name. But, you know, we talked on Beyond the Slipstream that this team is going to be decimated next year. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to race there. All right. People are
Mhm.
abandoning ship, taking contracts other places. Like, the landscape of that team is going to look really, really different next year.
It's unfortunate to see a team go away, but honestly, if this team went away, I would not be upset. Like this Sylvan Adams guy that owns it, this billionaire, like I don't like billionaires, and this guy's pushing like a religious agenda, and I'm not into that. Like it doesn't need, we've talked before about I'm not into the sports washing at all. I can't stand that there's a UAE and there's a Bahrain and there's a, you know, it's just it's just annoying. They're these the names of these countries in professional cycling are it's so anomalous. It's not like professional cycling is filled with riders from these countries. You know what I'm saying? It's not like these countries are rabid fans of cycling at all, but they're just like tattooing their name and their politics all over our sport. Do I sound like a, you know, some kind of racist or anti-Arab person? No, but I don't approve of those countries. The those sort of like dictatorial regimes that they have in those countries, um, and it's a bummer to see it tattooed all over my beloved sport. And it's the same thing with Israel Premier Tech. With it, like
No, I'm with you.
why does that need to be there? Like we don't need religion like religious overtones and political overtones entwined in the names of the teams of our sport.
Well, especially not if it's going to create a situation, especially in a country like Spain that is fairly progressive, and expect it not to bleed over into situations just like this.
And you'll notice also that the north of Spain is where there's, the bigger separatist movement. And it just so happens that this year's Vuelta is all north of Spain. I mean, they basically did like a flat kind of
Yeah.
circle that was 100% contained in the north half of the country. So it was just that was a well, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like different things conspired to really make the situation what it is. Um, as I was saying earlier, I don't think that merely removing Israel Premier Tech from this race, let's say they just decided to do that, hypothetical, halfway through week two, they're just like, nope, we're not doing this anymore. We're removing you from the race. Obviously, it would become a huge story, et cetera, et cetera. But the question is, what happens to the protests at that point? Do they just dissolve? Because I don't think so.
No,
I
neither do
think
I.
there's still all kinds of
Well, and
protests against these.
I also don't think that that's fair to the riders. The riders aren't choosing the political, overtones of the team ownership. You know what I
No, it's
mean?
not fair at all.
They're just there to ride and do their best and whatever, and they could care less. It's tough. It's
Well, no, and I don't think it's that they could care less. I think some of them care a lot. I think there's probably a lot of those riders that would be out there on the protest
Yeah,
lines
that's probably true.
with some of those people because their politics are, good or whatever. And at the same time, though, as one of them put it, I feel like when I was watching last night, and there was that shot of the Archaea guy, um, that kind of like pushed that one woman like out of the way and tried to like bust through the sign that they were holding. That group that was like in the middle of the road holding that
Yes,
sign.
on that
Um, One of the announcers made the comment, that he was basically his action, the message that his action conveyed was, let me get through here, I'm trying to do my job.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I earn my living. And you're so I certainly feel for the riders in that regard. Like they absolutely shouldn't have to put up with that in the execution of their job, and there's so much at stake with these bike races. um, and the amount of preparation is so great that it is just intensely unfair that
I also think it was very
they have to put up
interesting
with it.
yesterday, in particular, that once things were like nullified, they like killed the broadcast. They did. They weren't taught. They were like, nope, we're not going to be talking about this anymore. We are taking you guys right off the air. And it was like really, really fast. Like once that decision was made, it was like, well, have a
Well, I
thanks for
mean,
watching.
I
Click.
feel like I feel like we got like 20 minutes or more of like just
Well, it
neutralization
was just wait. They were just
photography and
waiting to
stuff.
see if they were going to do a podium, but it seemed like as soon as that
Right.
decision was made, bam, they went right off
Hmm.
the air. It was like we are not getting this any more run whatsoever.
It was just such a surreal thing to be watching. I mean, there was no action, there was nothing happening. We're just waiting for a message, and yet at the same time, I'm just like, I've watched so many of these bike races. You know what I'm saying? And to be watching this, like the final stage of a grand tour, which I've seen over and over and over again. This like these wonderful celebrations and these feel good moments and this exciting sprint and all that kind of stuff. And instead, we're just watching it just like shut down, and like these announcers, Bob and Christian, having to like just sort of try to put this thing in perspective somehow. And it's
Yeah.
completely bizarre. It was fascinating. I mean, it sucks, but it certainly was quite fascinating. So I feel like we could go on and on
Yeah.
about this, but do you
Let's
want to rewind
yeah,
and get back into the
let's
stages
actually
and kind of
talk about
talk
the
about what
race
happened?
that was.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
The biggest news on Tuesday, or at least going into Tuesday, was you know was that Vic Campenarts was not going to start.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that kind of kicked off. Tuesday was Visma's complete workhorse through the first 2 weeks on the front of that race is not going to be there for the final week. And at that point, you've only got like I think 40 seconds, 46 seconds or something separating Jonas and Zhao. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a big blow to that team. To have they lost Axel Zingale early, and then they lost Campenarts late.
Yeah, and I liked how you saw on a couple of different occasions, the team like in slower parts of the race, the team like shouting them out, and somebody was like, "I miss you, Vic. We miss you, Victor."
Yeah,
Mateo
well,
was like, "We miss you, Victor."
that happened after it was null. So this is the first stage that was like completely, or second stage that was completely nullified.
Right. No, well, no, this one wasn't completely
Well, yeah, I
nullified.
guess they took a winner.
We got a winner on this one, but before that happened, speaking of Visma, Vingegaard had a mechanical at like 18.5 Ks to go. He ends up taking Tullett's bike. You couldn't really
Yeah,
tell you couldn't really tell what happened, but it was kind of fun watching Tullett giving Jonas a push, and he gets back up there, but he's like on this other bike. Um, Visma Lab, for we were talking about this I think last week, how or maybe I was talking about this with my buddy on our bike ride yesterday. Yeah, it's just you look at how those two teams executed in this race, Visma versus UAE, and like Visma was just team, 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 and there at every moment to do what the team needed to do. And UAE was just individual, individual, individual. And maybe we'll help you out a little bit today, bro. But like we got we got our own
Well,
I'm handling me.
and when you
And
juxtaposition how they were in this race versus how they were in Canada with Tade, it's a night and day.
mhm,
It's literally a night and day
it
difference.
just backs it all up. Yeah, it just
It's
completely backs
night
up
and
the
day.
whole
It's
theory. It's like if Pog is there,
completely.
the team is like all for one for all. If he's not there, it's just like it's
Yeah.
fine. I wonder. It would be interesting to see him come out somehow, social media or something, see Pog and just be like, just call out his team and be like, guys, enough is enough. Like,
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if we look back at the two Grand Tours that he wasn't in, they were they were both in both cases, they were within grasp of winning three Grand
yes,
Tours.
in both cases, they could have won.
Yes.
They could have won the Giro and they could have won the Vuelta. The margins were not very big, and
No.
they blew it. They absolutely blew it. And then contrast that with Visma. What happens? Jonas is boom. Tullett's right there. Jonas gets on the bike. The reason Tullett was there with that group still that day was for that exact purpose, because Jonas is not going to be comfortable on Matteo Jorgensen's bike or Sepp Kuss's bike,
Correct.
but he is going to be comfortable on Ben Tullett's bike. And what happens? Mechanical, he's on Tullett's bike, and at the same time as he's trying to catch up, guess what's happening on the front of the group that he's trying to catch up? Oh, Matteo's gone to the front of the group and he's slowing things down.
Yep.
Just like teamwork
Yes.
executed perfectly. So good, so good. Imagine if that happened to Almeida, right then and there. He's done, done.
Well, we saw what happened because they lost time in multiple places throughout the race where they weren't working together. There was multiple times throughout 3 weeks where they lost little chunks of time here and there
Yep,
by not
yep,
working together
yep. It's
and having
crazy.
to make up and or having to chase to catch, probably putting in more effort than they needed to put in. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely weird. I
And
thought
as we get towards the end of the race, when sort of it's like, all right, everybody on the team has gotten their little slice of pie. You've all got your wins, and Jay, you're getting your jersey, and Mark, you got your win. Like, so can we all just, like, maybe for the last couple days, can we help Joao? Would that be all right? And that's the speculation, and you hear pundits talking about like, they should send Soler out as like a satellite guy, to help Joao out in the end or whatever. But of course, somebody's like, yeah, but he might just decide he wants another little taste. It's like you can't even make a reliable team plan because God knows what these guys are going to decide to do in the
yeah.
minute.
And then this is the end of that stage is pretty bizarre because it's just like out of nowhere it's just like, okay, they're gonna with like at like 11K you hear like, oh, they're gonna take the stage winner at 8K, and
Right.
you're like, wait, is this really gonna happen? And it, like, in an instant, they're like, oh, there's the banner, and Bernal comes off and puts in that little dig and takes the stage win, and good for him, dude. Like, I was.
Yeah, it was interesting too, seeing like they said it was going to be at the 8K to go, but they actually set up a little quick setup finish line, where they actually have the camera and they can take the times. Um, so that was like 25 meters before the actual like 8K to go. I mean, they had a big
Yeah, there
red
was a
like
gantry
8K to
there.
go marker. Yeah. But you could see there was a little pop-up tent. There was just a hastily drawn white line across this
That's
very small
crazy.
piece of road that they were on, and I think Bernal saw that and realized that was the finish line, and he sprinted and was first across that, but like he kept going to
Yeah,
the actual gantry. Like,
yeah,
ain't no way. I'm winning on both these finish lines, and so I was absolutely thrilled to see him take that win. He outside of the two Colombian championships that he got, it's been quite some time since that man has won a race. I had it in my last win was in 2021.
Wow.
So 4 years since he's had a win, but he got it, and I'm so glad for it.
Well, so on Wednesday, Pellizzari, God, I love that name. Ends up taking the win on a climby day, and big giant win for that kid. Like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, you know, the battle between him and Riccatello throughout this whole race was just as good as it maybe honestly maybe better than the GC battle.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, and at this point, Pellizzari just looked magisterial. We're looking at it like, okay, yeah, this dude's definitely winning the white jersey. Like
You would think.
he's a level above Riccatello. You know, stage after stage after stage, he's adding little chunks of time to his lead, and he's riding well. And then boom, he crowns it off with a big, you know, stage win, biggest stage in the world. And you know, this guy's a young guy, and puts 29 seconds into Riccatello, and it's looking done and dusted. But as we saw on Saturday, it's not to be the case.
No, it was definitely not to be the case. Going into Thursday, we have the individual time trial.
But I also want to give one
Sure.
mention to Tom Pidcock gets second on this stage with a really strong sprint, and it was another huge bullet dodged for him. The long climbs are the tough ones for him, and he just keeps doing what he needs to do to stay in contention.
This is on this stage. Jonas dropped Zhao for like a minute, and Zhao had to like catch back up to that group because it was
Yeah.
Jonas and Pidcock and hold on, I
Yeah,
had
Zhao
my
was
notes.
Zhao was yo-yoing.
Hindley, Pellizzari, and Riccatello. So it was the five of them, and Zhao kind of caught them at the end, and then Pellizzari took off.
It's really cool how this race played out with like there was basically like three one-on-ones. This race was three one-on-ones. It was Vingegaard Almeida, it was Pidcock Hindley, and it was Pellizzari Riccatello.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It was like three one-on-one prize fights.
Yep.
Yeah, all right, so Thursday.
So I pick it up when I pick up that the broadcast. Ghana was already in the hot seat.
Yeah, well, I mean, he spent about 3.5 hours there.
Okay, so the performances that I thought Jay Vine amazing, like
Crazy.
what a crazy performance, and you could see that Ghana was like, oh shit, am I about to get you know popped out of the hot seat by Jay Vine?
He was looking a little nervous.
Yeah.
It's it's interesting. I wanted to mention this. Like, so usually, I would say most TTs, maybe not. A lot of TTs though, like the main action is at the end of the TT. You know what I mean? Because it's the top guys in GC duking it out, and you know your GC position establishes the order, and so you you you're just kind of waiting until the end of the race or whatever for the excitement. But having a situation like this where, for whatever reason, you've got an absolute like baller of a TT rider who happens to be in 97th position on the GC or whatever, so he goes really really early, and then you get this hot seat thing, and especially when it's a Filippo Ganna where there's a very 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 good chance that nobody beats it and that he remains in the hot seat for the entirety of the day. That is an interesting little bit of excitement that pro cycling only offers us up, once or twice a season, where you get to watch a guy sit in the hot seat for 3.5 hours.
I feel I tell you what, I do feel like the organizers should recognize that some like I just feel like here's my question. I don't remember. I know that they changed this TT because of the protests. They shortened it.
Mm-hmm.
Did he go off before the broadcast? Like, was he already in the hot seat when the broadcast started, or was he like on the course?
No,
Okay.
You got to see him start.
Okay.
Like,
I couldn't that I couldn't remember. I was watching it. At work. Zhao also had a great ride, all right, and took what 10 seconds or so from Jonas, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
which was that was the only 10 seconds that Jonas gave back the rest of the rest of the race.
Right.
And I
Now, and
and I
go
have to
ahead.
say, look, I I don't care what anybody says. I feel like Visma played this perfectly all the way to the end. I think that they never put themselves in danger of Jonas, blowing up. They
Yeah.
they didn't. It didn't matter. I really don't think that it mattered that they kept it as close as they did. They proved that you don't need to bury these guys to win a Grand
Right.
Tour.
And the philosophy also was that we're gonna leave certain decisions to be made on the road depending on how Jonas feels. And in both in two of his wins, um, the penultimate stage on Saturday and one of the earlier wins, um, it was very clear that he only decided during the race when he saw how his legs were feeling and everything, okay, I'm going to go for this. But they were not pressed about it. The priority was to just keep Almeida where they needed to keep him. You know what I mean? Cover his attacks if they come, which are unlikely because we're talking about Joao Almeida, not an attacking rider. Um, and then decide on the day, like, where the legs are at if you want to go and try to do something special. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
Now
So
in the TT on our second and third bill fights, we had Pidcock actually gaining a little bit of time on Jai Hindley um, in the TT. Has a very strong TT, really solidifying the third step of the podium. Um, and then the big news was Riccatello, only 30 seconds down on Filippo Ganna, and it was a huge win. And I know he took some time back on Pellizzari, who did not have a great TT, some like 20th or something. And but I'm looking at my notes saying this is Thursday, saying it's a huge win, especially since there's almost no way he's going to beat Pellizzari for the white jersey. So funny. Um,
well, let's not bury the lead. Let's get Friday out of the way because Friday's more or less a pretty boring stage.
well, one more comment though
Sure.
on the Vingegaard v Joao and the TT. Joao got back to 11 seconds on Jonas. What would have happened had they not shortened the stage? Was there 30 seconds to be gained back on Jonas by Joao?
I think a longer time trial suits Jonas more.
I don't know. Joao's got that engine. He just like can do his pace and go and go and go. I don't know. We'll never know, but
Yeah.
at least they had the stage at all.
Yeah.
All right, so 19.
19, fairly boring. One thing to note, Jonas beats Mads for a intermediate sprint early
Crazy.
on. All right, to take
Crazy.
4 of the 11 seconds that he gave back to Zhao, or that he gave to Zhao the day before,
Yep.
right back.
Yep.
So he just cuts that
More
back to
evidence.
6 seconds.
More evidence. The team is just dialed in and doing exactly what they need to do. They're getting the marginal gains when they can get them.
Completely
they're
caught
taking,
them
they're
sleeping.
taking care of each other. Yeah.
Then there was another point too, just while we're talking about catching UAE sleeping. There's another point too where the winds like were creating some echelons, and Jonas and the Visma boys like ended up in a group that got kind of like split off the front. And it's like you're racing against this guy. You can't let this happen. All right. If you are really racing for the win, for the GC win of this race, you can't let Jonas get separation from you on a flat stage, on the last sprint stage. Like, that's just ridiculous. That's
Absolutely.
just piss poor management on UA's part. Period. And they almost got caught in that same exact thing right there. They missed him on the sprint, and then they almost got him again, just in the course of racing by not paying attention.
Yep.
Now, getting down to the sprint. All right. Jasper Philipsen is the ultimate winner. He comes, he 1.5. Ineos is crushing. Ghana is crushing on the front, keeping them in position.
That man can put in a turn
Oh,
on the front
good Lord.
of like a sprint stage. It's crazy.
But Albison gets Jasper into position, and you know takes over the lead, takes over the front. Mads is kind of lurking in the back, and we know that it's coming down to Mads and Jasper. I'm sorry, Jasper is going to win. I think Jasper would have won yesterday had it come down to a sprint. All right, and I think that at
He was definitely my pick.
any point where if you're going to put those two up against each other, I'm going to pick Jasper Philipsen at least right now every single time. All right, the lead out they both have really strong lead outs. All right, that little Trek lead out is very good. The Albison lead out is very, very good.
The Alpecin lead out's better though. That's like the best. That's the cream of the crop in the pro peloton.
I would really, really like to see Jasper and Merlier, all right, head to head, and I want to see a Matthew Brennan in the mix too. All right, I think it'll be interesting with Coy leaving Visma, Brennan obviously becoming the sprinter to beat at Visma. So I mean, you have to imagine that he's going to be your Grand Tour, sprinter, a la next year. I want to see all these guys race against each other. I really
think we're
do.
going to see some awesome sprinting next year.
I really do.
That lead out for Philipsen, that plank art guy, that guy's awesome.
Ed Plankart, yeah, he's very, very good.
And in this sprint, Mads he started his sprint like way earlier than Jasper. Like Jasper was still like safely tucked in the wheel when Mads was out there on the right of the head-on shot, already digging for it and looking kind of good. But yeah, he had already thrown in 10, 12, 15 pedal reps before Philipsen really started putting it out. And you ain't beating Philipsen in that scenario.
He is so good.
Yeah, he is just fast.
It's it's like, yes, okay, Mads gets a win finally late in the race, gets his win. However, while he's in green, yes, and he's going to take home that jersey, and that's a major coup for them. I can't sit here and say that he was better than Philipsen. I think he attacked the green jersey the right way to be able to go home and do all the right things and all the little spots to be able to take that jersey home. But I don't think he was the best sprinter in this race. I think Jasper Philipsen was. I really do.
I mean, Philipsen was definitely the fastest. Philipsen was definitely the best when it came to getting stage wins. It just depends on what your feeling is as to the purpose of the green jersey.
Yeah.
And to me, the green jersey, it's a cool competition. And there, are points to be gained in a myriad of different ways, and you just got to get the most points. It's a game.
Yep.
It's a game. It's a game within a game, and Philipsen, I believe, has won the green jersey in stage races. He could have changed the way he approached the race and gone for that prize. So in a way, they each kind of got a prize.
Yeah.
Philipsen got 3 stage wins. Probably would have gotten 4, which is something I want to get into when we kind of wrap up the Vuelta talk. But Mads got the green jersey and stage win himself. So that's kind of cool, actually.
No, I mean, it is.
I don't know that it sounds to me like you're kind of making a case for Philipsen should be the one in green because he was the best sprinter in the race, and you're probably right about that.
I just think it was different priorities, and
Mads won the game.
I wonder if I don't know. I just wonder
that's what makes it cool. Actually, you're proving the point here. It makes for a better competition because the green jersey doesn't just default to the guy who wins the flat bunch sprints.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a more interesting competition. It gives an opportunity for a guy like a Mads Pedersen who can get up and over climbs, who can get into breaks pretty easily and hang with them, and get out there until
You're
the
right.
sprint point comes, to get a little head to head. I like it. Shall we?
Yeah. So I mean, so that was so we're gonna take that takes us now to the penultimate stage of the race, which is stage 20 on Saturday.
Yeah, stage 20 on Saturday with the nasty, nasty climb at the end. The Bola del Mundo pitches of over 20%, with a gnarly road surface. Um,
Crazy when they get to the top of this climb, like the way that it looks. I mean, it was like desolate. Is in that very what's the one in the Tour de France with the like space station on top of it? Is it up? No, it's not Alpe d'Huez. It's
yeah,
the Haute Camp.
what is it?
No,
No. It's I can't think of it right now, but um, yeah, yeah, really, really crazy. Like the way those antennae up there look are really well. They look like rocket ships. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
But just like the ground, it's like this brown gravel, like nothing's
yeah.
growing up there. Like it's just wild. Like once you get to this
Is it Mont Ventoux?
Mont Ventoux, that is, it
Yeah,
is. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
You're right.
So at the start of the stage, you had Almeida down by 50 seconds on Vingegaard. You got Hindley down 40 seconds on Pidcock, and you got Riccatello is about a minute down on Pellizzari. And I feel like the main action kind of starts at 20 Ks to go, where you're seeing Landa and Ciccone dueling it out with Bernal and some other dude from EF, and
Yeah. Well, the Peloton had kept that break on a string all day.
of
All right,
course,
the whole day. Like they never had more. I think the most they had was like a minute and 37 seconds at some points. I
right,
mean, it
right.
was they were keeping it close the whole day. I mean, UAE was doing a lot of work out front. So was Vesma.
Right. So around 20K to go, you get a shot of Landa going off the front. He's managed to detach himself from the other guys, and then like the camera bike, the guy on the holding the camera, like you can see him jostle and like it goes up, and then all of a sudden, boom! It switches to a helicopter shot, and you see a swarm of protesters
Yes,
like
on the course.
in the front end, in the entry to a roundabout, um, and you're trying to get your bearing. As it turns out, Landa and um,
Bernal.
Bernal and Ciccone had already gone through there, um, and it was just before the peloton was about to get there, um, and these protesters were like basically trying to make the race come to a stop, and they kind of blew it, because they left the right hand side, like the little lane that you would go in if you're making a right turn or whatever, versus going through the roundabout. They kind of left that open, and so the
Yeah, a bunch of
the
people
uh,
went to the left.
the cars pushed through, and then a bunch of the riders came through there. There was like one guy that kind of got stopped, that somebody was like actually went after the rider, which is like, once again, here we go, like at the the Javier Romo thing from the other day, where the dude knocked him out of the race, and now you got another protester. It's just like, that is a major line that you were crossing as a protester when you're going after these riders. Like,
I understand the protest. Don't attack the riders. Like, come on. Like, why? Why
yeah.
are you attacking the rider of all? By the way, of a team that's not even the team that you're protesting against.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
right, like there's just
Yeah.
no need for it. Okay, like you've stopped them, you slowed them down, let them go by. Like you did the thing that you're doing, you accomplished.
So there was not much actual effect to the race from this little protest thing. Like, everybody got through, and there was enough time left in the race that like the race played out the way it was going to play out. So the protesters were unsuccessful, um, you know, in causing a stoppage, or messing up the dynamics of the race in any ways. Um, and you saw Landa and Bernal press on, um, but they get caught in due time.
Mm-hmm. The biggest thing is at the bottom of the last climb, Jonas and Zhao are together.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's everything is coming down to this last climb, depending on how it goes. If somehow Almeida can distance Jonas, I mean he's still within a minute. You know what I mean? He can win this race at this point, depending on what happens. But Visma had done a great job all day of keeping him very well protected and very well, not having to really push into his limit at any point during that day. So going into that last climb, it's anybody's race. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And basically the whole top 10 is together.
Mm-hmm.
The whole top 10 in GC is together going into that last climb. They get to about 6K to go, and you start to see the first victims, which are Pelizzari and Felix Gall, start fading. But Riccatello is still up there with them.
Yes.
He gets
And
a
looking
little bit
very
distance. Yeah, he gets a little bit distanced as they're making the right turn at 3Ks to go onto like the goat track that is like the crazy part at the end where the pavement gets really, really rough and gravelly almost, and then the pitches start to get ridiculous. But once they're there, it's down to the top four and Sepp Kuss. So you got Jonas, Joao Almeida, Pidcock, Jai Hindley, and Sepp Kuss heading onto the goat track, and this is where the fireworks begin.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Almeida leads out for like the first like 700 meters, and then boom, Jai Hindley puts in the dig, and competition number 2, the Pidcock Hindley show, is on like Donkey Kong, and you basically have Jai like kind of 2 bike lengths off the front of that group, and you got Pidcock like 1 bike length off the back of that group, and it's just like, oh my god, it could happen here. It could happen. What did we say? Pidcock had like 40 seconds on Hindley.
Yeah, something like that.
And you're talking about enough time, like enough distance up this climb. If Hindley's on a really good day and Pidcock's on a really bad day, that could disappear in an instant with these kind of gradients and stuff. But Pidcock's just still clinging on. He's just clinging.
So the one thing I want to say about Pidcock is I don't think he could have raced a better race. I think that he really showed that he can be in competition for a Grand Tour. All right, like he has the chops to be able to make it happen and the perseverance to be able to make it happen. And Pidcock has one of these days he's going to catch himself in a position where the climb is the right climb for him. It's got the right kind of downhill after it. He's gonna hit the top of it. He's gonna go over solo, and he's gonna bomb one of these descents, and end up distancing somebody and catching somebody sleeping. And he's I could just see him winning a Grand Tour at some point in his career. He's a very, very good rider, and I think if he
Vuelta,
I think
will be the one that he can win.
Yeah. He needs more pieces around him. I mean, it felt like he was doing a lot of this work himself and drafting on the work of other teams. You know what I mean? But I mean, look.
Well, this third place will be a huge thing for Q36.5,
Yes.
and will enable them to draw some bigger name talent.
I agree.
It's a huge statement that Pidcock's making, and anything could happen. I think they should definitely just set their sights for the Vuelta next year, for sure. I mean, maybe he could go and do the Giro as well, in a different capacity or something. I don't know, but like I would say definitely Vuelta for him.
Yeah.
So he manages to hang on, stays within touching distance of Hindley, who's just kind of who also can't really get full separation from the group. And 1.2K to go, Jonas finally makes his move. Like Hindley's out there kind of doing his thing, and then Jonas is like, "All right, enough of this, you silly boys. I'm leaving."
Now I did see some pundits kind of, I would say, giving it to Jonas a little bit, that, Sepp was so good on the day that it felt like, you know, I don't know, that he didn't necessarily need to win the stage, and that I don't know. There was some speculation on how Jonas and Sepp, or really Jonas, handled it with Sepp. But look, man,
Uh,
I
I'm gonna call bullshit on
I
that.
disagree. Yeah, I disagree. You know what I mean? I feel like the only thing that happened, going back and watching it after I heard, some people talking about it, was just that Jonas really, really made the move the perfect time, and it just, the way that he did it, it did leave Sepp kind of caught behind, to where even if Sepp had the legs to keep up with Jonas, he would have had a hard time getting around and keeping the wheel.
I,
So
I have no idea what these people are even talking about. Like Sepp is Jonas's
I know.
domestique. What are you talking about? Sepp Kuss has already
Well,
been given
possibility for a
the
stage win.
biggest gift in the world
Yeah.
by Jonas Vingegaard. Okay, which is the overall win at this race 2 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
nah, Jonas
Um,
Vingegaard's in the red jersey. He is the best rider in the race. They're at the final climb of the race, and if he wants to go and win it, he has no obligation whatsoever to do anything to help Sepp Kuss. Sepp Kuss is there to help him.
well,
End of story.
and once he goes, I mean, it is. You knew that it was all over, but the crying at that point, because I mean, he put the distance in really, really. I mean, 1.2K to go, and he put a good bit of distance into Joao Almeida.
Yeah.
I mean, he put a good bit of separation into Joao Almeida, and Riccatello also puts a good bit of separation in between him and Pelizzari, and
Yeah, Riccatello kind of comes in last, right after all those guys. Kuss comes in second, and then I think it's Hindley third, uh,
Pidcock fourth.
Pitcock fourth, and Riccatello fifth,
Yes.
right? Um, and Yeah, he leapfrogs Pelizzari. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that's just crazy.
Um, I loved this climb was so hard. Okay, at the end, if you watch Jonas, he tries to do his signature ring,
Yeah,
his kiss, and he lets out this like very guttural primal
yeah.
scream at the
Ugh.
end. Yeah. And like he can barely, like he's barely like holding up the bike enough to be able to do this. Almost
Yeah,
knocks over at the finish
yeah,
line.
yeah. Well, he reaches like he's gonna grab for the gantry
Yeah.
on the side or something like that, like he's about to fall over. And I don't know if you know, so this is one of those stages where like they come across and then like they got a team of people that run out there and push him up the rest of the hill and get him out of the way. I don't know if you noticed, but like when Sepp came in, like, and then there was a couple of guys like right behind him, like he just kept on happily like riding
Yeah.
through, like
He
nobody
was
was helping
fine.
Sepp.
Yeah.
Sepp at the end, he just rolled on through, and then the other guys are like, oh, about to die.
So that puts, Riccatello in the white. By the way, ironically, riding for the often mentioned already Israel Premier Tech. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what I noticed? Israel, the word Israel was back on the jerseys by the end of
yes,
this race.
I did
So,
notice that as well.
and that's also why I think like that the team's presence or not, like there would have been all kind of
Yeah,
protesters out there anyways. They're looking for a stage, you know what I mean?
absolutely. So that, you know, obviously takes us into Sunday, where everything gets nullified very early in. Um, I mean,
Right. I mean, the
they were
teams
at,
got the first bit of their little ceremonial procession.
yeah, it was like
They got to get
they got
their photo ops and stuff.
40K in maybe, and then it was done.
Yeah, they got their photo ops and everything, but it was quite clear that like there was absolutely no way they could finish this race. Like I'm sure that was a fairly easy decision for the race directors to come to when you saw the number of people
Yeah,
in downtown. I mean, people were tearing the barriers apart.
Yeah.
You saw shots where the cops are on one side of the barriers and the finishing straight, and the crowd's on the other side, and like people are like running up and like pushing the barriers and moving them. The cops are just like, ugh, and like,
Well, and they had brought
there's
in a bigger police presence for the end of the race too. It just wasn't
yeah,
enough. It just
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
enough.
yeah. It's absolutely crazy. So they they neutralize the stage, and I mean they're basically like shuttling the riders like out of there as quick as they can get them out, and just trying to make sure everybody's safe and everything. um it was wild. It was
Yeah.
wild just
It's a weird end.
watching those scenes. Um and when you look back on it, it's just, there's so much just disappointment to be had, um, as a result of all of this protesting. I mean, for one, you had, let's say, the disappointment of Tom Pidcock, who had his best opportunity at a stage win, um, you know, taken away by a neutralized race on stage 11, I think it was.
Right.
Um, well, the fans are the big losers here, and then
Mm-hmm.
the riders. And we as fans didn't get the chance to see Tom Pidcock and Jonas Vingegaard sprinting against each other for a win, in Bilbao.
Yeah.
Um, we did not get uh, or no. So then the disappointment of like an Egan Bernal who gets a stage win, but it's got an asterisk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We don't get a
And
final sprint.
yeah, and he probably would have got that stage win anyways. Um, the disappointment of Jasper Philipsen, he could have gotten four wins, but instead, he's got three, and you never know what would happen.
Yep.
The disappointment of Jonas Vingegaard, who does not get his moment standing on the big old podium in the middle of Madrid in the town square in front of the beautiful building, doesn't get it. You know
Nope.
what I mean? They don't get that photo or the team photo up there.
The big
You know,
plate.
yeah, like to hold it, like none of them get any of that kind of stuff. How about Javier Romo doesn't get to finish because some fucking protester takes him out of the race, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it, you have to say like the protesters pretty darn successful. Like
Absolutely.
mission accomplished. If I'm like the head guy in the protest squad, which there is no head guy, I'm
Yeah.
sure this is a social movement that is sort of erupting, you know, on its own. I would think, not there's no organization, um, but mission accomplished for them. And this is not a political podcast, but something's got to happen over there in Israel, and it's bad, bad, bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's terrible. It's
Um,
terrible. So to put a cap on it, Jonas Vingegaard gets his Vuelta.
mhm.
All right.
It's his third Grand Tour stage win, and it's his second in the treble
Yes.
for like one of each.
And remains to be seen what his schedule is going to look like next year. But I am not going to argue if you tell me that Jonas is going to skip the tour and go to the Giro. Like,
Well, he could go to the Giro and then make
do
the
the
decision
tour.
on the tour later.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be disappointed. I love the Giro. I still say that
Yeah.
the Giro is one of my favorites out of the three. Probably because it's first and you've had months and months and months in between. But
I would love to see Jonas join that club
yes, 100%.
of winners of all three Grand Tours. I would love to see Jonas getting the Eurosport treatment that we get for the Giro each year. Orla and the crew.
Yes.
Love to see them talking about Jonas Vingegaard, because that's a character that we haven't really heard them talk a lot about.
Yep.
Um,
Madsen's in the green,
yep.
which we kind of already talked about. Jay Vine,
and we love Mads Pedersen.
Yeah. He's a great rider.
If Mads is in a race, like there's going to be excitement. Like he is going to add a really.
Did you
nice
see him
element
take
to it.
his buddy's glass? I don't know why I didn't send you this. I caught a reel the other day. You know his buddy that does the like the TV stuff.
Anders.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Anders is like doing his thing the other day, and his glasses are like on, and like
Right.
Mads rides by and like literally rips them off of his head. He's like, hold on, I must go get my glasses. And he
Oh, I gotta
and
see
then
that.
it cuts to him getting his
Oh, that's
glasses back.
hysterical.
And he has this little conversation between him and Mads and Jonas. It's very funny. Jay Vine ends in your polka dots in my favorite polka dot jersey, the blue polka dots. Very well deserved. All right. This guy worked his ass off for that jersey as far as I'm concerned. Super well deserved. And then USA, USA, USA. We got Matthew Riccatello from the U.S. in the Young Riders jersey. Can't beat it. You know, love it, love it, love it. He'll be
So
on.
sweet.
He's going to be on that new decathlon super team next year. So expect big things from him as well.
Yeah. That is so super exciting, and we're going to be talking about a few more Americans in our upcoming chat about the Canadian races. And I just have to say, I am so happy with the state of the how do I put this, with the American professionals that are racing today. I'm very happy. And can I say that
Absolutely.
I'm happy with the state of pro cycling in America? No, I'm not. But there's some promise in that regard as well. That I'm sure will be an ongoing item of discussion for us moving forward. But I am very much loving not only the current superstars, but the up and coming
Yes.
guys that we've got here as well. So, and I would say Riccatello is chief amongst them.
Absolutely. All right. Well, on that note, let's take a break. We'll come back and talk Laurentian Classics in Canada. We'll be right back.
Don't miss Beyond the Slipstream, our weekly companion podcast to the Team Bus, our domestique, if you will, dropping every Saturday in your usual podcast feed.
All right, we're back, and we're heading up north to Canada, to the province de Quebec. The first race of the two Canadian races, the Grand Prix Cycliste de Quebec. Matt, where do you want to start?
In the gorgeous environs of Quebec City, absolutely stunning.
Yes.
Just iconic. It's like both of these races have like a roughly like 12-kilometer long loop that just goes through the most gorgeous parts of the city, and then they race it a bunch of times. And it's really cool. It's like a gorgeous crit race.
Yes. And they changed this. They changed this one slightly this year to make it a little bit harder. So like this one, they like, changed a little bit of the route. It's also really long. It's like 216 or 220 kilometers. I mean, this is a long race.
Yeah, Montreal, I think was 209. They're both pretty long. So when the other thing I loved is when they're showing you like the course map in the beginning. That is the best course map of any broadcast presentation ever. It's like this gorgeously rendered 3D look at the thing. And you can see all the buildings and everything just looks so totally perfect. And the line is just moving through it, and you can see it going up. And it's so well done. Like, come on, all these other broadcasters, they gotta get up to speed with this stuff. You know?
No, I agree with you.
We had Jez Cox and Alice Wood on the call.
Yes, we did. And I love Jez Cox. So the way that they made it sound was like it was going to be, a 16-lap stage 21 of the Tour de France. So, we've got Pog and Wout in the mix. So, that's what I was hoping for the whole day. But what we ended up getting...
We also had Michael Matthews and Julian Alaphilippe.
Yeah, Michael Matthews won this
those,
race 3 previous times.
Yeah, those were the kind of like the four big names
Mm-hmm.
going into this thing. Yeah, I kind of my notes kind of pick up around 60K when you've got this you got three guys out in front. It was Maciuk, Felix Bouchard, and Vergalito, and then you had five guys in pursuit, including Nils Pollitt, uh, Lawrence Pithy, that guy Maurice, Sebastian Tranchon, and one Lulu.
Gideon Alaphilippe. Yeah. Looking very good, by the way. Alaphilippe was looking very, very good throughout this race. I will, and we'll get into it as it develops later on. But you know, this group, it seemed like there were moments where I was like, oh shit, they're gonna drop him. Like, oh, they're gonna drop Alaphilippe. Like, he'd get in this weird, 2 or 3, 4 bike lengths off the back, but then he yo-yo right back into the group.
And you'd see him weaving around a little bit. He's moving around on his bike a lot. He's just kind of acting somewhat erratic.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's not just like dialed in and focused and da. He's like kind of
all over the place.
Yeah.
So you get that, and then so the 3 up front was originally 4. They had gone down to 3. They lost one of the Canadian national riders, had kind of rolled back. And then let's see.
You got Visma and UAE on the front of the peloton, bossing, a lot of strength. Let's not forget Tish Benoot was second last year. So, UAE is on the hunt for Pog, and Visma's on the hunt for Benoot or Wout van Aert, although I didn't see a whole lot of Wout van Aert in this race, I felt like.
He did early on, and then it just I don't think he had the legs. I just don't think that this was his day. I did. They had 5 hours of broadcast on this. I definitely did 2 big jumps because there was just like nothing happening, and I needed to get some in. So Lulu was in the chasing group, and then Lulu kind of breaks away from that chasing group and is able to get himself in the in between space during one of these laps, and eventually gets himself into that that lead group.
Right. So you got this group. It's like Pithy, Hermans, Pollitt, Sivakov, Skelmos, Mauro Schmidt, Tranchon, Bettiol, Charmig, and then Alaphilippe, Matty Mahort dangling off the back.
Well, and this is the group where he keeps yo-yoing off the back of this group.
Yes. He's like shaking his legs out, but he's like looking confident. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't look like he's struggling. So he's just back there just doing the Alaphilippe.
Let me ask you, do you think that this is dramatics to try to get people to catch him sleeping?
Who are we talking about, baby? Come on. Come on.
Because I feel like it was dramatics.
This is vintage. Of course it was dramatics, baby. This is showmanship at its finest. And he makes us anyway.
So let's talk about when he finally makes his move off of the front.
Well, no, hold on. Let's keep track along with this. So yeah. There was a couple of leaders. There was a few little breaks here and there, but by 33K to go, it's down to this group, and by 20Ks, they're down to about 40 seconds ahead. When they get to the start of the final 12-kilometer circuit, the gap's down to like 30 seconds, right? The group of leaders kind of get obliterated up the penultimate climb. This guy Charmig kind of blows that group apart, and then out behind, Pog does the same thing when the peloton gets to that climb. But as we've seen before, this climb is not quite steep enough for Pog to get that separation. You even got the likes of Biniam Girmay hanging on through that climb. While up
It's not
front,
steep enough.
while up front, this larger group of leaders has been blown apart by this attack of this Charming guy, right? Um, and they're being fairly closely pursued by Pogačar and Lapera is in there.
Hmm.
Lapera, who's on amazing form, Biniam Girmay, Abrahamson. It just
Also
got
on really
super
good form
super
right now.
exciting, right? And then the American crew arrives. McNulty bridges up and joins them. Paulus is there. Zambonini from Bahrain, um, and they're chasing. 8.5 Ks to go. Um, Girmay trying to hang on, Pog trying to ride everybody off of his wheel. Um, Benny's taking the initiative, trying to close down Pogacar's attacks because he knows if they can somehow stay together and catch the front guys, that Biniam's going to dust everybody in the sprint. So he's trying to hang on. Um, and UAE is sitting at, I think, 84 wins on this day, looking to match HTC Columbia from back in 92 or whatever for 85 wins.
Are you sure that it was that
Um,
long ago? I feel like this was in like '09
or
when they
no,
did
or
that.
no, not 82, not like it was like 92, I think.
No, it's like '09.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that because yeah,
It's
that was when
Cavendish. Cavendish
yeah,
is on that
Cavendish's
team.
team. That's right. I don't know. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so you got Palace, McNulty, Girmay, split off the front, and Pogacar actually gets left behind by those guys. I think, has decided that like this is not going to be the day, um, and ultimately Pog gets back with them, and then the Peloton catches up with them. 3.3 k to go. So you've now got Lulu, Bettiol, and uh, the one other guy with them. Who else is with them?
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't have it in my notes.
Oh, Sivakov.
Ooh, Pavel.
Right. And you get the Alaphilippe attack with like two Ks to go or something like that on that climb. Um, the wily Alaphilippe, who has just been sitting on the back the entire day. The rest of the gang giving him disapproving looks, but he's got the rainbow bands on his sleeve, baby. He's Julian Alaphilippe. Like you're not going to step up and talk him into taking turns. I feel like there was one spot with 8 Ks to go, or at some point where I saw him on the front of that group, just kind of giving him just like a little bit of lip
Cursory.
service,
Yes.
cursory. But really, he's just on the back the entire time, and he doesn't care. He's like, "This is this." I mean, that's bike racing, right?
Yes.
If you want to get on the back and take your chances and get everybody pissed off at you, you're more than welcome to do that. And you run the risk of them saying, "Well, if you're not going to work, then I'm not going to work," and you blow your own chances. But that is the chess match, you know. That is the bluff. That is the poker game that you play when you get these little groups out in front of a thing, and there's no one better at it than Julian Alaphilippe.
Now, by the time I'm watching this at home after work, when he makes this move, and I'm like the part that maddens me throughout the entirety of it is that he kept looking back. I'm like, stop looking back. Like, just go, just dig, just dig, just dig. Stop. Like, my notes are literally, oh my God, Lulu breaks away. Oh my God, Lulu, stop looking back. Oh my God, stop looking back. Oh my God, stop looking back and dig in.
I would love to see him like talk long form about how he approached the whole day of racing, because I just have this feeling that he knew that he had legs that day.
Yes, I totally agree.
He knew the entire time, and he's just keeping himself fresh on the back. And I think as he was going up that climb at the end and making the winning move, he keeps looking back because like he knows he's got it, and he knows that he just needs to keep him just dangling back there. You know what I mean? Just far enough. He's just like calculating. You know what I mean? Just dialing in his effort, just dialing in his effort the whole time. And at the very end, he takes a look back just to make sure that I got time to sit up and do my thing. He pulls the jersey down,
Yes.
which I thought it was funny. Jez Cox was like making that, was like kind of like cracking up. He's like, "Oh my God, wait, he's got a jersey on. He's not even wearing a skin suit. He is old school." Alaphilippe puts the jersey down and then just like gives full layback, and he's just looking tanned. He's got the beard. He's just like he's looking so fit.
First win of the year for him, and a big
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
And that guy when he delivers a win, it just
feels so good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And it's just like the way he does it with such panache. You know what I mean? Waits on that climb. It's exciting. There's just a million fans around, just a giant stage, and like he just comes up so strong. It was an absolute delight. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I love at the end when like his absolutely drop dead gorgeous wife, who is just like this insanely successful and just stunning, just classy, elegant woman. Like she just comes out of the press area where she was or whatever, and I'm just like, wow, unbelievable.
Yeah. Great day for him. Great day for that team. All right, which that team's got major prospects on the horizon.
Oh yeah.
Like, God, just I loved watching him win. It just made me so happy. And
it was textbook tactics backed up by perfect legs.
And you get a very different race 2 days later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, not nearly as good a race.
No, not at all. I don't think it was nearly as exciting. But the result I loved. So that brings us to the Grand Prix Cycliste de Montreal. A preview, by the way, of our world tour, or our world championship next year that is going to be in Montreal. Quite a different race, definitely climbier for sure.
17 laps, 12.3 kilometers, total of 209 kilometers.
Yeah, God, what a long day.
And Pog won here last year in dominant fashion.
Yes, he did.
He on Friday at Quebec, by the way, he was 29th, which was his worst result in any race since 2023.
Yeah, in 3 years. I had that in my notes as well. Tade's worst finish in 3 years.
29th.
Yes.
He was better than 80% of the race.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, his form. But I mean, again, like I think we all agree that did not suit him at all. And the difference that you get on Sunday, that team buried themselves for Pog. I mean, started out with Niels Pollitt, then Tim Wellens. I mean, it was just
Pollitt and Wellens on the front of that race for just like 70 kilometers. Just ridiculous. Those kind of guys fascinate me. Those engine guys that can just like sit on the front of a race for that long.
Absolutely. Well, and you could feel what was coming because they were working so hard for him the whole day. The whole team was there more or less for him for 100 and some kilometers, and then.
And you're watching every other team. Like there's 5 of them, and there's like 4s and 3s and 2s and 1s, but they have just got this strong 5 out front.
And it's just like they are literally working each guy to the bone, and then that guy drops off, and the next guy comes in, works himself to the bone, and the next guy comes in, and. My initial thought was, I really, and it doesn't end up being this way, but I really thought Quinn was going to make it more of a race. Okay, because Quinn Simmons is in the mix with the lead, with the lead riders most of the day. And when finally it comes down to it's him and McNulty and Pog, and I think they had just dropped Powless not that long before that. And when Pogačar does finally make that move, I was surprised that Quinn wasn't able to keep up with him. But it just goes to show you how much better he is than everybody else, because I feel like Quinn was having a day and it just didn't matter. You know what I mean? Once he went, and then eventually McNulty ended up dropping him in that blank space where you couldn't really see much. It was very, very different, style of racing for those guys than what what we're used to. But Pog does exactly what you expect and kind of goes clear. The thing that was unexpected for me though was that once you realize, once you could see that once Pog realized that it was McNulty that was in the split, he slowed down. He looked back, saw McNulty, and I'm assuming that someone's probably on the radio saying, "Hey, McNulty's coming up on your rear. You don't have to do this by yourself." Mm-hmm. But they end up getting eventually a minute 10 on Quinn, something like that, and it's just the two of them, solo, going out on this 2-man break to the end of this race. And Pogačar does this thing that just makes you like him even more. There's a lot of, you can see them, they really don't say much to each other before the last couple of K. And then they kind of were up next to each other. They have a conversation. They go back to riding. And it isn't until they're riding into the finish that, and I don't know if McNulty was having some sort of issue with his wheel or his tire or something like that. That's
what Jez Cox was saying.
Well, you could see him. He was doing something with the handlebars and slamming the front of the bike down. But you realize pretty quickly, oh, Pog's gonna let Brandon have this, and I think it speaks to Pog's character. You know what I mean? Pog gets a lot of run in general, but it speaks to his character that he's already won this race before. All right, would be a huge win for McNulty. All right, McNulty has as many career wins as Pog has had this year. You know what I mean? Pogačar does not need this one for his Palmares. He already has it.
Well, and McNulty's never won a big one-day race like this either.
No, that's what I'm saying. And so the recognition that this team has and that Pog has for the people that have helped him along the way is admirable. And I think he does a really, really good job of gifting. And look, and I'm not going to say I don't want to use the word gift.
No, it's not a gift.
Yeah, because McNulty was there. Okay, McNulty, had Pog not been there, McNulty probably wins this race, on his own. All right. And,
well, and here's the other thing that they're, the whole team is getting a special win with this because they're tying HTC's record.
Right.
As we talked of before, which goes all the way back to the 60s, so just kidding.
The 60s.
I'm just kidding. So yeah, it's their 85th win. So Pog, it's Pog is chasing wins, but Pog's going to get lots and lots and lots more wins. You know what I mean? This one particular one, to be able to let his teammate have that, it's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And one has to say, if I'm Brandon McNulty, the photograph that will be hanging in my living room for the rest of my life will be the photograph of me with my arms raised and off to my left, the greatest cyclist who ever was, going like this.
Yeah, giving you the look at this guy.
in his
Yes.
world championship bands, like, ladies and gentlemen, the winner. Like, that is so sick. I mean, wow. It's nice. We've talked about that before, how like every once in a while, a bike race offers up this moment where two teammates are out in front with nobody else, and they get to, have a special moment.
But
Jess Cox was calling for the rocks, paper, scissors.
yes, yeah, he was. Now, juxtapose that to their Vuelta team. It's a completely different. I mean, it's crazy to think that this is the same team, because it is such coalescence on one side and complete discord on the other, and it almost just doesn't make sense. But I think it goes to show you that when a team has a singular focal point like Pogačar, it makes it easier for everybody else to do their part. All right.
Yeah.
And then,
and especially when it's Tadej Pogačar, it's not that way with any team. Not every team has got one of the most like transcendent stars in history. But I take your point.
So, and for us as fans, us as USA fans, we get a USA winner of a big one day race, even if it is UAE. Pog comes second. We get Quinn Simmons coming in third, and we get Nielsen Powis coming in fourth. And if Pogačar's not there, we probably get a 1-2-3 American.
Unreal.
Yeah,
unreal.
Crazy.
Americans bossing it in Canada.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable race. Unbelievable win. For Brandon McNulty, very well deserved in my opinion. So
I'm in agreement with your suggestion that we make a big effort to go to the World Championships up there next year.
Yeah, I just had no idea. I mean, it's a 10-hour ride for us. Like, I don't see how we don't make that happen.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I don't think it'll ever be any closer than that to us unless somehow they do it in the U.S. But with their current political climate, I doubt that that's a possibility.
They were in Richmond back in like when Peter Sagan won his first one. That would have been like what, 2013, something, 12, 11, 11 maybe. Yeah, 2011 probably, something like that.
I guess we will find out in the future if it ever does happen. But I'm not holding my breath considering the current political climate.
No, nor am I.
Do you have anything else on the Laurentian Classics?
The Laurentian Classics. I love it that you are referring to them as that. That's wonderful. No, Quinn Simmons in number 31 in the American jersey, coming in third place. Loved it. McNulty, one of the American, everything about it.
Yeah,
it was great. I mean, it did not have anywhere near the excitement of Quebec. Like, that was an exciting race.
I was screaming at the TV for the Quebec race.
Screaming
at the top of my lungs.
So epic.
Yeah, I was actually in Discord with a couple of friends while I was watching that race, and just it completely took me out of the moment. And I could hear my friends laughing at me as I was like, stop looking back! Stop looking back! What is he doing?
Yeah, I was watching it, and my wife and kids have a relationship with Alaphilippe, just because, like, when they were real young, I would get them to say Alaphilippe, and it was just like so cute the way they would say it, and like, so I was always making them root for Alaphilippe. And so when I was watching it, and it was like right at towards the finish when he's like making his move, they like come walking down the stairs to go out to wherever they were going that day, and I'm like, girls, get in here. They come running in, and we all watch Alaphilippe win together. So nice. Even though I'm watching a replay, it's not like it's happening live or anything.
Yeah, I was definitely watching mine on replay. So alrighty, on that note, we'll be back to take a ride in the Broom Wagon. We'll be right back. All right, we're we're back for another Broom Wagon ride. Matt, what do you got for us today?
So I believe I have previously talked about the movie Pavements, directed by Alex Ross Perry. It is a documentary about the band Pavement. I know that I talked about that other documentary called like something loud. It was about Gary Young, the drummer of Pavement specifically. It was about him. And I had stumbled upon that movie when I was looking for the Pavements movie that I'm talking about today. Which was just like a nice little happenstance because I really enjoyed that Gary Young movie. That guy was crazy. And boy, did I enjoy that Pavements movie. So I started watching it and had not finished it. And I didn't realize that I hadn't finished it and went back and finished it. And oh my God, I had to give it a little bit more love on this podcast. So it's, it'll be much more rewarding for fans of the band if you are familiar, with their discography. This movie is very, very rewarding to you because there is a whole lot of the discography in the movie. There's literally dozens and dozens and dozens of their songs that you hear, parts of, snippets of, or whatever, in many different ways in this movie. So to refresh your memory, I don't know how much of it I got into. I can't really remember, and I didn't go back and look. But like, this is one of the most inventive band documentaries you'll ever see because they create these alternate scenarios in this thing. So you're watching the movie and you're seeing the band in present day, um, in the studio and in front of crowds and stuff like that. There's no real like narrative kind of through line or anything like that. It's sort of cut without any kind of like commentary or anything. But then you get cuts to these like young actors and like act studio or theater actors who are in this like rehearsal space, and they are rehearsing a show that seems to be a, a dramatic kind of musical or whatever, but they're singing songs that are Pavement songs that we're all very familiar with, but they've changed the arrangements to be more sort of Broadway-esque. So you're hearing new versions of many of the songs that are very familiar to you. And as you're listening to them, you're like, you know, these songs really work in this like musical theater format. That's kind of cool. Like, I like what they're doing with this. Is this a real play? Like, can I go and see this? Like, what is this that these kids are doing? Okay, so then sprinkled into the mix, you're also seeing what appears to be some actors who are rehearsing for a live action movie that seems to be based on Pavement, right? And so you're seeing these four actors, one of whom is Griffin Newman from the Blank Check podcast. Griffin Newman. He's playing the drummer of Pavement in this movie that you're seeing they're showing clips of it in rehearsals for, right? So you're like, damn, are they doing a Pavement like live action movie? That's freaking cool. Like, I want to see this. Like, this is crazy. Like, so you're getting stoked over this, right? And you're just like watching, and they're really digging. And what they're doing with these things is they're digging into the psychologies and the the stories of the songs and the psychologies of the bandmates through these vehicles. You're seeing the guy trying to learn the part of Stephen Malkmus, the singer of Pavement, and in his learning this part, they're revealing to you things about Stephen Malkmus, which is what a good documentary does. It reveals that, you know what I mean? But what an inventive way to go about it. You know what I mean? Because Malkmus is a very kind of buttoned up guy. The whole band is kind of buttoned up. It's and their songs are strange. The lyrics are very strange and stuff like that. And yet they have these hooks that just get their claws into you. So on top of all that, And I should have mentioned earlier that I'm going to spoil the hell out of this thing when I talk about it. But on top of all that, you're also seeing clips of what appears to be a like New York City art gallery, like in Soho or something, that is having a show set up in it that has like pavement memorabilia. So it's like a pavement retrospective art gallery show. And you're seeing like different bits of things that you're familiar with from your fandom of pavement over the years, like in glass cases in like a gallery show. And there's like, and then you see like they do like a whole art opening and the band is there and it's like, you're like, all right, is this freaking real? Because some of the things that they were showing that were on display seemed so tongue in cheek, like that's ridiculous that they would have that. You know what I mean? It's just too ridiculous. Like I wish I could remember an example, but at this point you're starting to question like what is going on in this documentary. And basically they sort of play these things through to their end. Like the theatrical play gets to a point where like you see them rehearsing like the final number, so you know that like there's kind of a whole body of work that has been created for this thing. And this last number was the just the coup de grace of this whole thing, is the final number that the theater group plays. They're doing like one of their songs, one of their big songs that's like beloved by fans. I can't remember which one. Maybe Major Leagues, I think. Bring on the Major Leagues. Um, and so they kind of they're playing that song in their theater way, and it's just like a two chord progression. It's like it's going back and forth, and they finish the actual lyrics of the song, but they still have the chords going. And then like one of the cast members starts singing the chorus to an entirely different Pavement song, like over those two chords, and they just like belt it out. And then like another person does another Pavement song, and then another one, and they do like 20 songs and like one line from like 20 different songs, and every one of those lines just seems to work perfectly over the theatrical version of the Major League song. Like it's so perfect, and as a fan you were just like what a what a moment, just like what a way to just encapsulate this band, its quirkiness, its weirdness, but like the quality of the songs, and the malleability of the songs. And it's just like really a special documentary. So I just wanted to give a lot more love to Pavements, directed by Alex Ross Perry. And one other quick recommendation, I'll turn it over to you, which is Trader Joe's ghost pepper chips. Have you had these? Trader Joe's, of course, they've just got a laundry list of just like incredible house products that you can only get there that are just so good. Jingle Jangle, a personal favorite at the holidays. They make a potato chip. It's like their ghost pepper chip, and they are like all Trader Joe's potato chips. They're just the construction is perfect. They're just a couple millimeters thicker than a regular potato chip that just gives them a real solidity. These are actually like waffle cut chips, like the flat waffle cut or crisscross or whatever.
Great.
And then the ghost pepper spice that they put on them is exactly hot enough. It will not destroy you, but like the heat is there. You know what I mean? And they're just quite tasty. So a shout out for Trader Joe's ghost pepper chips. What do you got? I'm loving this.
So I really was going to say something about the current state of affairs. Obviously, it's been a very divisive week in the U.S. When it comes to politics and culture and government and a number of things. And the reality is, and I am obviously not a fan of the current government and how it is being run, how it's I don't know. There's a lot of things that I disagree with currently in the current political sphere, and I wanted to say something, but at the end of the day, I think, other people can say it a little bit better than me, but the reality is that I really do believe that, money is attempting to separate people in this country. Like, it is by design that we, have this very divided line, through us as a people of, the right versus the left, the liberals versus the conservatives. And then the reality is that I really do believe that that's exactly what the government wants. It's exactly what these billionaires want. They want us to be divided because they know that, the house divided is going to fall a lot easier. And I couldn't express what I wanted. I wrote a few things and just never really liked what I kind of came up with. So in thinking about that, it made me think of an album that I would recommend that everybody go and listen to. It's from 2011. It's a rap album by rapper Lupe Fiasco called Lasers. And Lupe Fiasco is definitely a more political rapper and definitely, has his finger on the pulse, so to speak. But this particular album, really can give you a good reflection of the us versus them mentality that we should have, and how, it is, these are things that they are using against us. And the sad part is that, social media has been weaponized against the people. Media in general has been weaponized against the people. We have this, essentially, we have, Fox News and Newsmax and Breitbart and all these, conservative news, places, but really all it is just the echo chamber to continue to say these things that keep people divided. And the one thing that I would say is, your neighbor's not your enemy. All right. People of other colors are not your enemy. All right. They're not trying to take anything away. The fact that this country was founded, essentially on, people coming here for a better life. We need to focus on that. That's the thing that we need to focus on, is that, I'll take one line from the Pledge of Allegiance, what I don't really agree with in its whole. But the very last line is freedom and justice for all. And that's something that we need to get back. It's not about one group. It's not about taking back something for one group in this country, which in essence takes it away from another. All right. It's for all of us. And they don't want that. All right. The big they don't want us to be united. They want us to be divided. So listen to this record. Form your own opinions, but just remember that, your neighbors, just because you don't agree with how your neighbor thinks does not make him your enemy. They want you to be enemies. All right. But, all we need is love, man. John Lennon and the Beatles said it best. All right. All we need is love. So, on that note, that's all for this week. Join us next week for coverage of the opening weekend of the 2025 World Championships from Rwanda, where we will be reviewing the men's and women's individual time trials, previewing the road races the next weekend, and much, much more. Until then, for my brother Matt, I'm Justin Harper. Thanks for listening. We'll hope you'll join us again for another ride on the team bus. Ale.
The Team Bus is a production of Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe, smash that button, leave a 5-star review, and most importantly, tell all your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Ale!